ready for another lesson?
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Back Row Banter. Is that right?
Back Row Banter.
I think that's still our name.
Back Row Banter.
Or did you guys kick me out?
I mean, no comment. This is episode 16. I am your host, Adam Schwartz. We'll get to what we got in the show today. It's gonna be a slow episode a little bit. It's a drier episode, but we'll fill it in. We'll fill it in with some colorful conversation for y'all.
Calling it dry already.
We got one news story for you guys that's not very exciting, and no trailer talk, and there's like one thing on new to streaming worth mentioning. Well, who knows what we're watching? We'll get to that, I guess. And then our main review for the episode is High Tension. You know what I realize is Nathaniel interrupts me like every intro. So now
I can't read the pauses because you pause them very like, and then I go to talk, and then there's just it doesn't get there quickly.
But even when we were in person, I feel like you would say something mid intro.
Yeah, that's
and
how they know I'm here.
Okay. Otherwise, how would they know? Maybe this is an episode without Nizda, and then they're gonna turn it off.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. And then last week you didn't interrupt me, and I was thrown off. I was waiting for it.
Oh well. See, that was my game plan all along.
Keeping on my toes.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah. You know what? That's exactly what I was gonna go with. The Pavlov. Fucking training me. Pulling psychological experiments on me is Nathaniel Gingrich over there.
Hi everyone, I've missed you.
I've missed you, Nathaniel.
And missed you too, man.
It's been a long week for me. I don't know about you boys. It's been a busy ass week for me. But we're here. Man. We're here. And also joining me today is. Do we have another title for you, Ty?
No, I think we're still just volleyball champions.
Yeah, you get the captain of the champion volleyball thing.
Tyler Val. What it is, bro. Sometimes people need a leader. That's what I'm here for.
Is that so?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a young Tony Stark.
Huh. Without like the money and like the women and like the looks.
Well, I got my
the
woman.
Suit. Well, you got the woman.
That was a great answer.
Yeah. And let's be honest, there's really not that big of a difference as far as how we look.
Listeners, because apparently my fucking friends over here can't learn that this is an audio podcast and they keep doing visual gags. Tyler put on his pair of Edith glasses that he has, which are Tony Stark's glasses. And that's why he said there's basically no difference. This is an audio podcast, though, Tyler. So I'd appreciate if you don't do visual gags.
I think everybody else enjoyed it.
Really?
Yeah. Plus, I mean, look at the graphic. Like, we have the exact same facial hair. He looks exactly like me if you just take off like the eyes and nose.
And we were talking about it the other day.
So you just take off all the facial features, and you guys are left with the same skin tone.
Yeah, we look great.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. What were you saying, Nathaniel?
We were talking the other day about if Tyler built an Iron Man suit, he would have me in there as his Jarvis.
I would be down for that.
That's actually really funny.
Yeah, I was like, because like I make like very like off the hand kind of decisions, and I'm just kind of like, nah, screw it, we gotta go. And Nathaniel's like, well, wait, maybe we should, like calculate this a little bit. And I'm like, see, that's why I need you around.
And occasionally, I just make witty comments at him.
Yeah, nice like sick little one-liners that he's just throwing in there.
Solid. I think that's a solid plan. But I think first we have to get the Iron Man suit.
Yeah. So
that's doable.
Last but not least, we got our other guy here.
Good job. You want to finish that out? I'll let you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, cool. Last but not least, we got the very popular with a very beautiful voice, Big Cat Blake. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. Long week, but got to get to our first horror movie on the pod, so
I hear you on that. I'm pretty excited
up for it, man.
I'm hyped.
Blake, I think you're just a little bit too quiet. Could you like pull the mic a little bit closer to you?
That, or you can up the sensitivity on it a little bit. Either one.
Gotcha. No worries.
Don't want to up it too much because listeners, they're all in the same room this week. Past few episodes, Blake has been recording from home, and then it's Tyler and Niz in the same room. They're all together. I'm alone here in my own room, but they're all together, so that's nice. How is it being back together in the same room, guys?
Oh, dude, it was so good.
It's really nice.
Yeah. He like walked up the stairs and I opened the door and it was just magic. I'm like, I'm so glad you're here.
Did you guys like run into each other's arms or?
Kinda. There was just like no flowers.
Yeah.
The room got brighter.
Oh,
That's the
absolutely.
way
Ah,
it
did it?
was weird. Yeah, it was weird, especially because the sun was going down too. But like, there's just this glow that came through.
It's beautiful.
Ah, I see. It sounds great. I'm very sad I missed it.
There'll be another ray of light when you come back and we're doing.
Oh,
like,
I bring the ray of
holiday
light with me,
special.
of course.
Yeah, it's like the Fifth Element, or the end of the Fifth Element.
Love the Fifth Element.
Haven't seen the Fifth Element, but you know,
That doesn't
I'm
surprise me.
assuming there's some.
That doesn't surprise me either.
It doesn't surprise me either. You know, we're not surprised at this point. I haven't seen a lot of the movies. You know, there's a lot out there.
It's kind of the podcast.
Man.
Yeah, that's part of the podcast is me learning movies, seeing movies I haven't seen, things I need to see.
Well, what do we got rocking for today? News wise.
Let's get into the news. I've had a long ass week, so I'm gonna be honest. I'm a little tired, but you know, I'll try to pick it up a little bit. News. We got one news story. Because everything else was really boring in the news today or this week. The Batman resumes filming after Robert Pattinson's COVID-19 quarantine. So I guess it was 2 weeks ago probably that we reported. I think this was 2 weeks ago. That we let you guys know that Batman had paused production because the main star our Pats, he tested positive for COVID. Our Bats. I like that one. Are we deciding on that for our Batman abbreviation?
I'm down.
Who
I'll co-sign.
was it us that had the conversation of what is his abbreviation, or is that a conversation I had with some other people?
Well, what did they call Ben Affleck when he's bad? Isn't it
Batfleck.
I call him Batfleck, yeah.
I think our Bats. I like
Christian
our
Bale
Bats.
have one?
Not really.
Rachel.
Yeah, he just had Rachel.
That might be it.
Where is she?
Oh man. So the Batman's back in production. It's still set to come out October 1st, 2021. We'll see if that gets delayed at all. Because of the COVID, they've had to stop production now twice, it looks like, because the original quarantine and now this 2-week break for our Pats and his recovery. We'll see if it can still hit that October 1st deadline. Hopefully. I'm very hopeful that it can, but at the same time, you never really know in today's day and age with everything going on and all these delays and who knows what's going on, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all with you on that. We all kind of expressed our opinions on that. Was it a few weeks ago when we did that DC dump? So yeah, I'm super excited for it, man. Hopefully it's October 2021, like they say. In reality, it'll probably get pushed back as most movies are right now. But
yeah.
Hold
I would
on
not.
there, Nancy's. You never know. They got time here.
They haven't delayed it yet, but I'm just saying, like, I'm not going to be surprised if they do.
Yeah, I'm
Does that
with
make
you.
sense? Yeah.
Fair enough.
That's it for the news. I was looking at stories. I didn't see too much pop up that was all that interesting. So
I'll bet you. I'm gonna Google movie news right now.
Okay.
We'll pick something. We'll do it
Okay.
live on pod.
all right, cool.
Movie news.
Make sure
news.
it's from like a Wikipedia story, like an Onion story, or like some stupid.
Sherlock Holmes
like-
3: 7 quick things to know about the Robert Downey Jr. movie.
Wait. Oh, I want to know this. I didn't know that got cleared. He's doing another one. Now I'm excited.
Now we'll find out.
I guess we will.
What was the last movie Robert Downey Jr. was in?
He did the Doolittle. Yeah.
Oh my God, he did.
Still loading.
Yeah.
Did any of you
I
guys
heard
see
that was pretty awful. I heard
Yeah, I
it was not
totally
good.
forgot that movie
Tenet.
existed.
Tenet continues to struggle in U.S. box office, only grossing $250 million worldwide.
I saw that one, but I feel like we've talked about Tenet so much as far as how they're doing and all that stuff that I was like, we can talk about it. Yeah, Tenet. Tenet's been iffy in the box office, especially in the U.S. Would you say it was 25 million? I don't have the story pulled up.
250 million.
250 million. Which I think we said they need to make 500 million back to about break even. Does that sound right?
Right. Yeah, I think that was the budget. Then Nathaniel said usually you like double that. I think if you include advertising and all that type of stuff. So I don't even think they're gonna come close to that shit, dude. To be honest.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. So Sherlock Holmes 3 release date has been set for December 2021.
Really? They've got to be starting production on that pretty soon then.
I would imagine.
I did not even know this was confirmed or it was a thing.
So Downey Jr. and Jude Law are reprising their roles. Dexter Fletcher is directing. He just did Rocket Man and finished up Bohemian Rhapsody.
Okay. Yeah, I love those first two. How do you guys feel about them? You guys seen the
I really like
them.
RDJ Sherlock? I like them. I think they're solid actually. I haven't seen them in a while. I'm pretty sure. Let me look up where they're streaming at because
I don't think I've seen any of those in hindsight.
I own both of them.
There's two.
How old are those?
Like 2000. What like?
I want to say the first one was
10,
maybe like
11.
2010. The second one was maybe 2012.
I want to say it's 9 and 13.
2009 is the first one. Good call there. What is the second one called?
Game of Shadows.
Game of Shadows. That one came out. 2011. 2 years apart. Okay. Yeah, I like both of those. I haven't seen them in a while. Let me see if they're streaming anywhere.
I want to say the second one was. They both just came out on 4K, so there you
go. They're on. The first one's on Freeform, streaming on Freeform, or you can rent it for $4 on Amazon and Apple.
Freeform.
Yeah, Freeform. I guess that's the only place it's free. Let me see the second one here. Second one's on HBO Max. So I don't know how that happened, but
the artist formerly known as ABC Family.
Oh. Yeah, but I guess the second one is on HBO Max. So you got that going for you. If you want to go check that out. I like both of those movies.
Formerly known as Mouse Cop.
Oh man. Are we going into that third movie article you clicked on, Nathaniel, or are we just gonna
that was it was really just kind of a list of things that were about it. So like when I was saying Dexter Fletcher is directing and
gotcha.
That was the article. Hold on. Next article off the movie news general search.
We don't have to keep finding movie news.
No, I like it. It's a fun game.
Okay, we'll do one more then. All
right, we're gonna go with the worst remakes of all time.
Oh, okay.
A listicle courtesy of Rotten Tomatoes.
I want to hear this.
According to the Tomatometer. Oh, this kind of fits in. A lot of these are horror movies.
Oh God.
Martyrs from 2016.
I haven't seen that.
I have not seen that.
At a 9%. Blake, have you seen the original Martyrs?
No, I have not. What's that about?
That's another one of those. It's in the same vein as our movie today, actually, High Tension. It's one of those films that kind of collectively became known as the New French Extremity. But it was a 2008, I want to say, movie, which is about a girl that escapes from this area or this compound where she was being tortured, and then grows up and then feels guilty about leaving the other girl who was there with her in that situation. So she tries to track down the people that took her when she was a kid. It's kind of famous for being just super graphic. Well, in the torture porn genre, some would say.
You know who's into torture porn?
Tyler Vidales.
Yep, that's exactly what I was gonna say.
Out of left field.
Some people would call Tyler Vallis the torture porn enthusiast.
That is definitely not my
another
name.
one. One in at number 11 is Shudder.
Shudder.
That was a remake of a Japanese film.
Yeah, I might have seen that before.
That was kind of those years when there was like 4 or 5, or like any movie that was made in Japan that all seemed to be like around the haunting of technology.
Yeah,
all
because
got remade in America.
Yeah, there's that. There's One Missed Call. Have you seen that?
Call. Yep.
What's the one with oh man, we were just talking
the
about
Messengers or whatever.
Yep.
The Grudge, like The Ring, all of those guys.
What's the one? Jessica Alba.
The Eye.
Yeah, The Eye. Yeah, that's bad. All those movies are really bad too, by the way.
Yeah, it was a rough time in horror. Those early thousands. They were all like PG-13 too.
Yep. The Pulse.
Yep, that's another one of those ones. But yeah, number 10 is When a Stranger Calls. So another one of those ones.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, wait. This is the
original one, the 70s one.
No, the Babysitter Story. The Have You Check the Children.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that, or that's a remake of one from like the 70s. Bangkok Dangerous, starring Nicolas Cage, 8%.
Ooh,
haven't seen that.
Yours, Mine, and Ours from 2005. It's like a Cheaper by the Dozen ripoff. Jacob's Ladder they remade.
Cheaper by the Dozen, what a good movie.
Doesn't Ryan Hollander have a video on Jacob's Ladder?
Yeah, he does.
So that's the movie he's talking about, the one you said that's terrible?
Oh no, that's the remake.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Came out last year. It looks to have like pretty much an all-black cast.
Gotcha.
Whereas the first one was obviously a all-white cast. The Fog, another horror movie.
Yeah.
Flatliners.
Hilarious.
Dude, One Missed Call. One Missed Call is the number 1 on this.
Wow. Yeah, that was a lot of movies I haven't seen.
Yeah, dude, those are all probably pre-2000, like 6.
What website did you find that on, Nathaniel?
Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, there you go.
This is according to the tomatometer.
The tomatometer. All right. Well, that was your news for the day. A bit of fun on that one. Nathaniel spicing it up with some live news.
Just
breaking news. Breaking news. Let's move on to what's supposed to be your new to streaming, even though I only picked one movie out of everything because there's not really much coming out, and the stuff that's coming out is kind of garbo. But do we have a flick for y'all? Real Steel is coming to Netflix, ladies and gentlemen.
I own this.
You own it?
Yeah, I do own it.
That's the reaction I wanted.
Is that the
that's what I needed. That's what I needed to hear.
No, it's Hugh Jackman, and it's in like a futuristic like robots are like a real thing, and they essentially use these robots to like box, and like,
it's like Rocky with robots.
Oh, okay. I think I remember.
But like the human has like control of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what am I thinking of then with Mark Wahlberg? Is that not a movie?
Transformers.
I don't think it's Transformers 4, but yeah, I could be completely off.
I mean, that's the only robot movie I know with Mark Wahlberg, I think. I mean, I can look up his IMDb really quick and see.
Let's do it. Google it.
Why not?
I think it's just
The
Transformers.
Yeah,
I think you're just because Transformers, bro.
Yeah, I could be completely wrong.
He's in, or no, that's his. Never mind. Or he produces The Fighter. That's a boxing one.
Yeah. Do I have that and Transformers combined, mixed together?
Yeah,
Maybe
he's in the
Fighter was a great movie.
The Fighter. I need to watch that. It's on HBO, I believe.
Dude,
I keep going by it. Yeah, I keep going by it.
Yeah. Oh well, I'm wrong. So nonetheless, we got that on there for new release. What else we got? I think that's it, right? Yeah,
that's legit it. Like I said, there's just nothing coming.
Yeah.
But on the bright side, listeners, we have the What We're Watching segment where we talk about what we're watching. It's kind of self-explanatory, but maybe you guys can get some recommendations from there. You know, why don't we go around? Why don't at the end, since there's not a lot of new to streaming, why don't we go around at the end of our What We're Watching, recommend something that you're either watching or watched that you recommend, or just recommend something in general that people should go watch, since they don't have a lot of options for the new to streaming.
Interesting.
Ty and Nizza, what you guys been up to?
I need to put this out in the universe, and this made me really happy. So I'm a really big fan of Starship Troopers. I don't know if you've ever seen this or not, but it is.
I have not, but I'm aware of what it is.
So I looked at Nathaniel probably like a month ago, and I was like, we were scrolling through Netflix or whatever it was on, and I was like, dude, Starship Troopers, like, we gotta watch this. And he's like, I've never seen it. And I was like, get out of the apartment, leave. I need you to go away.
True. I was gone for 3 days.
I didn't carry a win either. I was just so disappointed. So yeah, we decided to watch that, and halfway through the movie, he had to get up and get water or something, and I was like, so, like, where you at? And he was just like, oh my God, I'm all the way in. And I was like, this couldn't be more perfect. So Starship Troopers is one of them.
True, yeah. Incredible movie. Just an insane movie. Like, Paul Verhoeven is so overlooked as a director. I think yeah, it's I knew. So, H, do you know about it like at all?
Yeah, no, I know a decent amount about it. I just haven't seen it.
Okay. Yeah, so I knew like the overall plot, and I knew that it had this kind of reading that of the movie that could be seen as anti-fascist. And then I saw the movie, and it's such a perfect satire. That I just, like, halfway through I was just like, this is incredible. It's and it's not that it's too it's not like it predicted a lot of things, but it has just aged incredibly well, that you notice the things that it is saying are even more relevant now than they were back at the time that it came out. But yeah, I was
It's
just
on
great.
Netflix, so I might give it a watch sometime soon.
I highly recommend it. I just thought it was a great movie. It was fun. It was wild to look at. It's like the best looking B movie I think I've ever seen. But it totally means it. Like, it's really hard to describe. And like, I don't even want to talk about it that much because I want a lot of people to have that viewing experience that I had. But there's a certain point, like halfway through the movie, where I was just like, oh, this is where this is going, and this is why it looks the way it looks, and it is the way it is. So yeah, I think it's incredible. I want more people to see it and hope more people enjoy it.
Well, maybe I'll give it, if I have time this week, maybe I'll give it a watch. It's only, what's the runtime here?
It's like 2 hours and 10 minutes.
I have it up on
Letterboxd. I went on
doesn't say.
IMDb, so I looked at that director.
Paul Verhoeven.
Yeah, so I mean, he's done RoboCop. He did Total Recall. If you've seen any of those, he did Basic Instinct. Yes.
Yeah, the original.
The one with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah. He did Basic Instinct. I don't know.
That's one I have seen. I have seen the original Total Recall.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I remember when the remake came out with who was in the remake?
Colin
Farrell. Yeah. I went back and watched the original with my dad.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, he's got a pretty good catalog. He even has Hollow Man on here. If any of you guys have seen that one with Kevin Bacon.
That sounds very familiar.
I mean, yeah, it's like your Invisible Man. Movie, you know what I mean?
Gotcha. I totally forgot that was a thing.
No, I remember watching Hollow Man all the time when I was little.
Dude, what a great movie.
Yeah.
Kevin Bacon's a shit.
Is he?
Oh my God, dude.
What level of, or what is it, the rings of Kevin Bacon, the degrees of Kevin Bacon? You guys are aware of this?
7 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What level are you guys on? Do you know?
I have no idea what you guys are even referencing, man.
It's like this theory that everybody in the world is only 7 people away from Kevin Bacon. Like, you know, a guy who knows 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 Kevin Bacon or something like that.
Right.
So it's like what level or what ring are
It
you
comes
on?
from 6 degrees of separation, which is
Yeah,
just
yeah.
any given people are 6 degrees of separation from each other.
Yeah. What else you guys been watching? Is that it? Just Starship Troopers?
No, Starship Troopers was definitely the one that like stood out the most and was kind of like, oh my gosh, this is something else. Yeah, just that's
it's such a good movie.
No, but that experience is just like what I think
it's incredible
is unique exactly to movies, is that just like because you're conscious of that being there and going, oh my god, I'm seeing good art, and not only that, but there's still more good art to come, kind of thing. And it's one of the few art pieces that I think you kind of interact with over an extended period of time, in and out. And it's just that when you get that full on adrenaline rush of how good something is, it's just a really fun moment.
Oh, of course, yeah. Especially when you realize it mid-watch or something like that, when you can just be like, I'm so into this, and you kind of just enjoy the rest of the movie even more because you're just like acknowledging how good everything is.
Yeah, I can't just explain it. Even from like somebody that's experienced that movie on multiple occasions, being able to show somebody that movie for the first time is like, that's like one of those movies that like I love to show people for the first time. And if I can watch it with you, even if I watched it yesterday, I'll still watch it with you if it's your first time the next day. Right. It's just it's definitely goes down in my book as like one of my tops.
Would you want me to wait to watch it until I'm back home?
If you want, you can, but you are.
I'm in no rush. I'm in no rush to watch it. But
it's fun.
Of course, I've got plenty of other things I could watch instead. So maybe I'll just hold that off until we're back together, and we can cuddle on your couch and.
I'm in. Leo will be moved in by then.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I call middle spoon.
Well, you can cuddle with Nathaniel.
All right, fine. Dibs on little spoon then, Nathaniel.
I'm very cuddly. I'm very cuddly. Just everyone know.
Blake, we'll get Justin over here for you guys. For you.
Oh, fair enough.
You can't be left out.
Right.
Cuddle
and Justin's definitely a little spoon in that matchup.
While I agree that Justin is definitely going to be the little spoon, I'd also like him to see him attempt to be the big spoon. Because Blake is like 6'3". I don't even know how much Blake weighs. Probably like 200 pounds, and Justin's like 5'6" and probably like weighs like 150.
He's not 5'6".
Yeah, he's pretty short though. He's like 5'8", 5'9".
5'6". He's gonna be so bad.
He's gonna be so pissed.
Sorry,
anyways,
Justin.
Love you, buddy.
I also watched Session 9 this week.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Oh, you did? Yeah.
Group chat.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I didn't expect it to have a British lead, or I think he's actually Scottish, but a UK lead. And then like half the time I was like, oh, that's CSI Miami guy. Like, what is he doing here? But yeah, no, I thought it was really fun. It had a good vibe to it. I'd definitely say if you are kind of looking to get into that spooky fall season, it's worth a watch. It's definitely misrepresented by the poster or whatever is on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whatever kind of poster you come across, it makes it look like it's going to be like super kind of that mid-thousands gory, scary, almost like Hills Have Eyes, or like
right,
or like
even like a High Tension, like what we just watched.
Yeah, like a High Tension
and
style.
It doesn't have that.
Really not.
Yeah.
It's much more of a slow burn, but yeah, it's really good. Definitely recommend it. Underrated flick, I would say.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
From what Blake described last week, sounds pretty good. Maybe we should do that as one of our upcoming reviews.
Yeah, it could definitely go on there.
Could,
for sure.
Yeah. Because once again, we have started off the podcast without deciding what we're watching next week.
I mean, we're fine, man. The next
we'll figure it out later on, but we need to start getting ahead of this. It's getting ridiculous that every pod we have to figure it out, either on pod or after pod, and then I have to cut back. It's a lot. Anyway,
well, October coming up with specifically horror stuff. So
yeah, we'll have to plan out what we're doing.
Yeah.
Is that it, Nathaniel? What else have you been watching, or has it been a slower week?
We hit basically the last or the last few episodes right before the big finale of season 3 of Attack on Titan. So we had to, and we never had enough time where we could like sit down and just kind of like put in a good 3-episode crunch for that and finish that guy off. So what we did instead was we kind of cooled it on Attack on Titan, even though I'm all in on that show right now, really loving it. And we pivoted to My Hero Academia. Which I have not seen before.
So Tyler, you started over.
I did start over, and I probably got like 3 episodes into the second season, and then Nathaniel's like, "I think I'm just gonna do like a deep dive," and like next thing I know it, he's like caught up. So I was like, "Okay."
I had a night off, and Tyler was out of town, I think, or hanging out with Leah, and I just smashed it and
killed it.
So
I've heard a lot of good things, but I've seen the first episode of that show and was not into it at all. The main character's voice was really screaming. I also was watching the dub, which probably didn't help much. But
we've been watching the dub, and it's
you guys been watching the dub.
I mean, I'm with Adam on that
about
one.
it, and it's great.
Okay. They were actually watching it when I got in here today to record. But I'm with you on My Hero Academia. I tried to watch it. Obviously, a ton of people have great praise for it. So I tried, maybe a year and a half ago, and I couldn't get into it, man. I don't think I got past the first probably 4 or 5 episodes.
I think, especially for me, after like the last 2 big animes that we kind of smashed through, being Evangelion and then Attack on Titan, where it's just like consistent death and destruction and despair. I was like, we like turned it on. I was like, oh, that's right. Animes can be light and funny and happy, and then like, also have
you kind of forget
just an overall lighter subject matter too.
For sure. Oh, and there he goes.
Bye, Nathaniel.
But yeah, so you had My Hero Academia. Did you have anything else with that, or?
Yeah, we did. But yeah, definitely go watch that. Anyways, we had the boys over on Friday, and
oh yeah.
Leah was here too, and we were like, just chilling, talking. We had New Girl on in the background, and then we ordered food, and I'm like, let's get into a movie. So we're scrolling, and half the group wanted to do like comedy, and half the group wanted to do like horror.
It's the worst, dude. It's the worst. You just gotta, in those situations, you gotta take that remote, and you gotta executive decision the shit out of that, bro. I hate that.
I know. So like we were scrolling, and then we landed on Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
What is? Okay, I've never heard of this.
So a majority of the room hasn't seen this. So then I was like, we want to do horror, we want to do comedy, we got to watch it. This is it. We're doing it. Done. And then this is like where we kind of ended up.
Give me the rundown.
That's what I was. Popcorn Nathaniel.
Oh, well, it's a really fun movie. It stars Alan Tudyk and I forget the kid's name.
And what's it called again?
Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Or versus Evil.
2010.
Yep, 2010. Kind of super low budget, but is a horror black comedy that takes the typical kids to go out in the woods and get murdered by scary hillbillies and flips that on its head, and is just a really good time if you haven't seen it. It is a horror comedy. It's definitely more comedy, I would say, than horror. If you can, but there is some graphic bits or gory bits. But it's mostly played for laughs. If you can kind of handle that, if you've done a Tarantino or something like that, you can handle this. But yeah, just a good time.
Fair. Yeah, it sounds like a good time. Yeah, I hate those situations when it's just like there's 6 people in a room and it's like picking the movie is just the worst. So I've started to just I just press play on something and then we just watch.
Yeah.
I'm tired of having all these people in my room. And we spend 20 minutes trying to pick something. I've gotten to the point where it's just like, you guys want to name a genre, I'm picking the movie, and then that's
what happens, and you have an OLED in your room in a frat house.
Exactly. I know. It's a privilege and a curse, of course. What else, guys? You guys are done?
I don't have anything else. I don't know if Nathaniel does.
Nizzle, you've been sneaking some movies?
Nah, not any
Tyler?
movies. Nah.
Shows or anything?
Just did more Louis Theroux, but other than that,
Okay.
no. Did you go in on that at all?
I have not. No, I don't have a VPN to go get that. On British Netflix. Maybe that's something I should invest in. But I will get to my what we're watching. But I did watch some docs. Did get into some docs. Yeah. Blake, why don't you go ahead though? What you been up to?
Yeah, man. Pretty slow week, like I said, for the most part though. But I did get to 2 films. Like I said, when we had High Tension rolling for this week, I was like full bin on horror now, or even just kind of scary movies, I guess, whatever you want to call them. But nonetheless, I watched the first 2 Blade movies this week.
Okay.
And I like them. I mean, the first one I think is really good. I think that's better than the second one. But yeah, those are good. The Blade movies are obviously starring Wesley Snipes. He plays Blade, like a vampire slayer, basically. And those are, the first one's maybe 90. Let me go on IMDb. The first one's probably 99, 98. The second one's like 2002 or so. And actually, the second one, the director on that is the same gentleman who did Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah, old GDT. Guillermo del Toro.
I noticed that yesterday after I watched, and I kind of did some research on it. And that's cool because I know he has a really good eye for like monsters and stuff. And like we talked about the Pale Man and Blade 2, the main antagonist, right? Instead of vampires, like there's like this other species that's now hunting vampires. And the design on those are really dope. So you can definitely see where like Del Toro shines. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, those are some of the coolest looking vampires on screen, I'd say, are probably in Blade 2. But yeah, so that's really it. Just watch both of those. Nothing super crazy. I'm sure most people have seen those. Have you guys seen those? I'm sure Tyler has.
I have.
I have not, but that's not a shocker to anybody.
It is not.
What's
would you say they're worth a watch though? Should I check them out?
Yeah, I think it's cool because especially like you, like at least being in like the newer kind of Marvel area.
Right.
He is part of Marvel.
Mhm.
And he technically was like one of the first like African American superheroes. I think he may have even been like the first to like take a big role like that. So yeah, like Wesley Snipes does a killer job. I thoroughly enjoy those. The worst one is Blade Trinity.
For sure.
But Ryan Reynolds obviously is in there, so that's pretty fun. So yeah, it's definitely worth it before like Marvel became Marvel.
Yeah. I'm just looking for any listeners that are interested. Both Blade 1, 2, and Trinity, all 3 are streaming on HBO Max. In case you wanted to check them out. Go ahead, Nathaniel. I'm sorry.
Did you ever hear the stories on Blade Trinity? The kind of insane things that came out of that movie.
No, what happened with those?
Apparently, Patton Oswalt, who's in Blade Trinity, has like a whole story about it. I think on like Jimmy Fallon or something like that. You can check it out if you want to watch it. But apparently, Wesley Snipes refused to be answered to anything other than Blade. And then there's this scene where his character is supposed to be like lying on a table and has his eyes open, but he just refused to open his eyes. So they just CGI'd eyes over him. So, just like before the Henry Cavill Superman mustache nightmare, they had to CGI eyes onto Wesley Snipes and Blade Trinity. That's apparently like one of the reasons. Like the movie may be crap, but for what they had to go through to get that movie, it just makes it like an A+.
Right, it's like pulling teeth. Yeah. And like Tyler said, I mean, that one is by far and away the worst one. The first 2 actually aren't that bad, to be honest with you.
I actually really like the first 2.
Yeah. But yeah, that's fucking funny. Outside of that, yeah, I don't think I had much. Playing some Siege this week. I was actually gonna hit you up to play some Siege, Adam, this week. I think I might have played Friday. We had a decent session.
I was busy Friday, but yeah, I was busy last week. Hopefully, I'll be less busy this week.
Right.
So maybe hit me up. I'll let you know.
Yeah, but yeah, that's really it, man. For sure, we got some of those placements done.
Yeah.
I did terrible. My placements.
Is the new season out yet?
3 and 7. It is. It just started maybe 2 weeks ago.
What are the operators
Um,
again?
It's just one new operator. It's
Just one new?
Zero.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's Sam Fisher, obviously from the
Oh
other
yeah, that's right. Yeah. I remember that.
Tom Clancy games.
Mhm.
But yeah, so that's it on Siege. It's a quick Siege spiel. Watch both Blades. I recommend those if you're into kind of those vampires, or like Tyler said, even if you're into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I guess this is pre-cinematic universe, quote unquote. But yeah, it's a Marvel character, so
Sure.
I think you'll be pretty tuned in. What have you watched?
Yeah, so go
Blake,
ahead.
did you ever watch The Strain?
The Strain. Oh,
That was a
that's
TV show, right?
it is, yeah. And actually,
Yeah.
so funny enough on that,
It's also
with vampires, right?
Yeah, it's also Del Toro too, so you can see a lot of those
Oh my
neck
God.
things.
That
from
makes so much
Blade
sense.
2.
Yes, because
Yeah.
the vampires in that look just like the Reapers in Blade 2. And
Yeah.
The Strain was the first TV show I tried to watch in college, like on streaming. It was on Hulu, right? And that was the first one I tried to watch. Like, let me see if I can find something. I found something. It was horror, right? There was vampires. I'm like, let me try it. And I got maybe through the first season, and I was like, dude, I just can't. It's not cutting it, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's funny to even come to that recollection.
Yeah, I was just curious because it was same, and also like you said, like a horror show and that kind of thing. I was in the same boat. I think I got like 6 or 7 episodes in, and I was like, this is pretty fun, but like it can take a backseat.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it wasn't the greatest, but the monster designs are cool. Like we said, Del Toro does great on those. Where it like opens up from like their chin and their neck type thing. It's pretty dope. But yeah, Adam. So what have you watched this week?
Yeah, so I don't know where. Okay, I'll start with the docs that I watched. I watched 2. The one I watched for the class I'm taking, Psychology at the Movies, is a documentary called Murderball. Have any of you guys seen that?
I have not.
So it is 2005. That's when it was released. It covers two kind of. It covers the sport of it was nicknamed or dubbed Murderball, but it's essentially wheelchair rugby. So it's disabled people in wheelchairs that are playing full contact, charging into each other with their chairs rugby. So it is a bit of an older doc, 2005. So it's a bit dated as far as like the style of it and all that, but it was still pretty solid. Didn't love it, but liked it enough. It is streaming on Amazon Prime if this interests anybody. That's where I went ahead and watched it. But yeah, it was pretty good. Gave some cool insight into like disabilities and stuff like that. It was one of those because that class is all about how the psychology of movies, but and also how that affects like the psychology in society and stuff like that. So we talked about how the movie tried to address different stereotypes of disability and stuff. Overall, I liked it. Wasn't amazing. Wasn't the best doc I've ever seen, but overall pretty solid. And then the other doc that I actually technically haven't finished, but I've gotten like 3/4 to. I keep falling asleep watching it. I've put it on like 2 or 3 nights in a row and fallen asleep watching it. It's The Social Dilemma. This is the doc that I mentioned like 2 weeks ago, I think. Coming up to Netflix. It just released, like it was on the newest streaming. But it's about social media and everything like that, and our phones, and how they're affecting us and how they're affecting the new generation. A cool little thing that I say it's cool because it's different, but I don't really know how much I like it. But the documentary switches between all of these tech experts from Silicon Valley or like high up or just executives, former executives or current executives talking about the dangers and of social media and talking about the inner workings of these companies and what they're trying to do with their products and how they're developing them to make them make people want to use them more, get more time, get people using their apps more and more time on those apps. And so that's what it deals with, which we've seen quite a bit. That I feel like that's a topic that's been coming up more and more recently. So it's not necessarily a new subject, or it's not like shining light super heavily on something brand new that we haven't seen before. It covers a lot of the same ideas that I feel like we've been talking about or have been talked about in the past 2 or 3 years. But the cool thing that it does, again, I keep saying cool. The thing that it does is it switches between all these tech experts, but then it also has a drama aspect to it where it's like there's a scripted storyline going on that they kind of cut in between the telling of or the explaining by these executives, and then they kind of have a family almost being acted out. that is sort of displaying these phenomenon that's occurring with technology. It's kind of showing that in real life.
Gotcha.
My problem with those scenes, I like the idea, but they're so dramatic, and so overdone, and the actions that the characters that the family takes like are I feel like are a bit extreme. Like for example, one I mean it's not a huge spoiler, but like there's a scene in the acted out portion of it where the family's trying to eat dinner and the mom bought them like a box to put their phones in that's going to lock for an hour so they can not have phones at the dinner table. And like the 13-year-old daughter grabs like something out of the kitchen and gets so crazy that she breaks the box open to grab her phone in the middle of dinner. It's just dramatic shit like that would probably never happen.
Right. Now, let me ask you this. And so do you think that that's more tailored for like, I guess, is that Gen Z then, right? Like the generation that's come up on, I guess, like using phones 24/7. But I mean,
are you talking about like that kind of like style, like the acting portion of that? Or are you talking about like the message? Who's it for?
Just the message in general.
I think it definitely is because I think since that kind of generation, because I'm technically Gen Z, but like I don't know if I've talked about this on pod or if we talked about this on pod.
I think
but
you
like,
did last week.
Yeah, I think I did last week. But I'm kind of in between generations a little bit just because I'm on the
yeah, you did say
very tip of Gen Z. But like there are generation or there's the people younger than me that grew up with this stuff. They don't know anything without it, and so that's kind of become the reality almost. And so it's not as easy for them to look at their phones and imagine kind of stuff without it. Or like life without it. Whereas like I went a while. I didn't get my first iPhone until freshman year of high school. And I had like crappy phones before that. So it's like I know what it was like to not always have social media and stuff like that. Whereas I think the younger generations need to start waking up to it a little bit more. I think they have a little bit, but it's not much is changing. I think people are like aware of it, but don't care too much, which is kind of scary. But I think it's worth a watch. I think the information they presented was pretty good. They presented it in a really cool way. So they have that drama scene. The other thing that they do that I actually did kind of like was they had a little they personify the algorithms that are getting people to use these apps more. So they had like a scene that they kept going back to of these three guys like trying to figure out, and they had like this avatar for the user of the phone. These three guys that were like supposed to be the algorithm, like saying what will get them to use the phone more. And it's like, oh, if we show them this post from this person, there's like a 93% chance he'll click on that notification, and then we got him. Like he's going to be using the app more. He'll go to this, and then we'll show him that, and like stuff like that. That was kind of cool. And again, I haven't finished it. I'm going to finish it tonight, I think. I'm about 3/4 of the way through, but I've been liking it. Pretty solid. So yeah, I'd probably recommend that if you want to check it out. I think it's about an hour and 20, hour 27, something like that. So not too long either. It's on Netflix. Yep. Gotcha. I believe that's one of their original documentary series. They got a lot of good docs on there, a lot of original ones too. The one that won Best Doc last year for the Oscars, I believe, is on there. I forgot what it's called, but it's the worker one where they switch workers with China. They switch American factory workers with Chinese factory workers. Fuck, I forgot what it's called. Let me see. There, here we go. It is called. That's not what I'm looking for. Man, I can't find it.
No worries. I mean, but yeah, that certainly sounds interesting, at least to get a doc right where you're seeing that role change, you're seeing that position change, and I'm sure that drives a lot of people crazy.
Yeah. So it was supposed to be a really, really good doc that was crazy. Kind of see the cultural differences between the working standards of America versus the working standards of China.
Absolutely.
I just can't remember what it was called.
Is that one that you watched this week, or what else?
No, that's just one I've heard of before.
Okay, gotcha.
Because, like I said, Netflix does have some good docs. If anybody's interested, I would definitely start there because they do have some good ones. That was just kind of an example. I really want to find the name of it, but I can't for the life of me. I'll try to find it. But in the meantime, Tyler, I turned on New Girl.
Oh, nice.
I did.
What do you
Yeah, I
think?
turned it on this week. I liked it actually. I watched about 7 episodes in one
Good.
night. Just me and
That
buddy
makes me happy.
kind of chilling. Yeah. Very 2011, the first season.
Yeah, it'll definitely
Very 2011.
you'll see kind of the progression of that if you keep going on kind of how it
American
definitely
Factory.
plays into a lot of this. And
The American
so, but
Factory,
yeah.
is that what it's called?
American Factory.
That sounds right.
But yeah, it progresses really well with like if you started watching it back in 2011, you could see where it is now. So yeah, it'll actually it's really fun to watch people go through that quickly and like a binge watch and end up loving it. And yeah, I love everybody on that show. It's fantastic. It's great. Watch it.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny. I wasn't sure if I was gonna vibe with the humor, but it was pretty solid. I don't know when I don't know how often I'll go back to it, but I think I might at some point.
I think you'll find yourself going back to it more than you think if you still end up watching
we'll see.
it.
Zoe Deschanel's pretty funny in there, and the supporting cast too of the guys are all pretty good.
She's great.
Yeah. And then the last thing that I saw this week, I saw last night. I saw Tenet again. Wasn't really planning on it. I got initiated last night for my fraternity finally after 10
Congrats,
months.
by the way.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, for anybody who I went through 10 months of pledgeship. For anyone who doesn't know how frats work, it's supposed to be 6 weeks. I was supposed to be there for 6 weeks, and I ended up, because of COVID and because of just the timing of it all, I've been a pledge and not active in my fraternity for 10 months. But that all changed yesterday. So my pledge class, we all went out for our retreat before you get initiated, and then ended up killing some time by going to the movie theater and seeing Tenet. So.
Oh yeah, so you did the second watch.
Yeah, did the second watch.
What are your thoughts on second watch then?
After my second watch, I came out of the theater much more content with what I saw. Because I was able to understand a lot more. It didn't feel like the movie was moving as fast because I didn't have to catch every morsel of information. I'd already caught most of it, so I was able to pick up things that I hadn't before. The dialogue was still a little hard to hear, but I was able to make out more of it this time because I wasn't kind of focused on a million things at once.
Right.
Yeah, because you've already seen it. You're not looking for but I picked up a few more things. I don't want to really spoil too much, but we can talk about it off pod if you guys are curious what I picked out. But it didn't make the movie amazing for me. But it did make me a little more okay with what I watched and a little bit more because last week on a review I kind of went off a little bit, even though I liked I liked the movie overall. There was a lot of problems I had with it. This second viewing didn't fix all of the problems, but it did fix a few that made it a little better and a little bit more digestible for me.
Yeah, for sure. And me being the only person who's seen it multiple times, I mean, I can co-sign that. I mean, just watching it a second time, that first half of the movie is so much easier to watch.
Yeah.
Right.
And you're able to follow what happens a lot
yeah.
better because I remember I mentioned last week or on a review how like you kind of have to give up following the plot. I was able actually this time to go through and follow most of what happened and most of the connections that I wasn't able to make the first time. But that being said, while I was able to get the understanding of the plot that I hadn't before on the first watching, the fact that I have to watch it 2 times because the fact that I have to watch it 2 times is not terrible, because sometimes you like a movie like Inception, like you're probably going to want to watch it a second time to see what you missed.
Right, but this one's not a want, like we said last week. Yeah,
exactly. This is like I could watch it again and probably pick up and exactly. And the other thing is that I got probably like 50% of what was happening the first viewing, and I feel like that's too low of a percentage. Whereas like on a first viewing of Inception, I feel like I got most of it. So that's the problem there. I won't say too much more about it because I could probably keep talking about this movie, especially after a second watching. But yeah, I feel a little bit better about Tenet after watching it a second time for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I'm with you on that.
All right, are we ready to move into our main review segment, boys?
I believe so. The only other thing that Nathaniel and I forgot about is we started to rewatch The Boys so we can get into the second season. So we got like what two or three episodes deep into that with my girlfriend Carolia. So, and she hasn't seen it, which is really why we actually started all the way over. But her sister and her brother-in-law strongly recommended it to her last time we were out with them. So I'm like, babe, if we're gonna do it, let's do it. And she's like, all right, let's do it. And I was like, lit.
That's
I
awesome.
believe it.
Yeah. So
Nathaniel, you started watching it with them?
he did.
I've seen it
Okay.
before, but yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
you have.
And I've I like the series. I think it's pretty good. I didn't think it was quite as I didn't take to it quite as much as I think like Tyler has, or even
Okay.
Blake a little bit, because I think Blake liked it quite a bit too. But
Blake,
it's
have you
still
seen it?
it's still worth a watch for
I
sure.
have not. And
Okay,
actually,
I'm
my dad
sorry.
loves that show. Where I think he actually started watching the second season already.
Your
And he
dad does?
finished it. Yeah.
Yeah, my
So
dad does too. I think I've mentioned this before, but
yeah,
What's up,
you did.
Bushwoods?
So yeah, when that came out, what was that, last year, or maybe it was
I think it was
2018?
I think it was 2019.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
he
remember
was
it being
like,
pretty
"We
early
gotta watch it."
2019.
So no,
Yeah.
that's something I should try to get to, but I think I'm just gonna save my my very minimal effort of TV series to The Haunting of Hill House season 2,
Sure.
and that'll feed
Fair.
my ego or feed my appetite for another 3
Gotcha.
years before I watch something.
Which someone was filling me in too. I think they are doing more episodes of that too, which I talked about last week.
Oh,
By
nice.
the way, last week I do need to address this. I said that the second Annabelle movie was directed by Mike Flanagan, which it is not. It's directed by David F. Sandberg, who I always get confused with Mike
How
Flanagan.
dare you, sir?
I'm sorry, David. I'm sorry, Mike. It won't happen again.
I will not accept the slander on Back Row Banter.
But yeah, Sandberg's really good too. He did Lights Out, and he did
He did do Lights Out. Yeah.
and he did Shazam too, actually, which is also a
Ooh.
really good movie and has some fun horror moments in it as well too. But he's really good.
Yeah, it kind of does.
Mhm.
Cool. Now are you ready, Ty?
I believe so.
All right, fantastic.
First horror review of the year.
Nathaniel, why don't you give us the listeners a rundown here of our review segment if they've not tuned in before?
Well, if you haven't, welcome. This is kind of how we do it here on Back Row Banter. But what's going to happen is I'm going to give kind of an introduction for the film this week, and then I'm going to give talk about who directed it, kind of give a little backstory on it, kind of what the actors are, things like that. We'll do the IMDb summary of the movie, which are kind of notoriously to us, short and to the point. We'll kind of flesh out a few more details after that, but we won't go into any spoilers or any plot summary after a certain point. At that end of kind of our first introductory comments and everything, we'll all go around and say whether or not we recommend the film, yes or no. Has to be yes or no. And then we will talk more spoilers afterwards, kind of really delve into it, really get give our ideas and our thoughts and any kind of issues we might have with it or anything like that. After that, we'll welcome back any of those visitors that wanted to come back or to leave for the spoiler portion of it, and we'll see where this guy ranks on our entry list, and then get on out of here right off into the sunset. What do you say?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. All righty.
Yeah.
So this is High Tension. Came out in 2003, way back in the day, at the ripe old age of 17 now. It is a foreign film. It's from, I believe it's actually native to France, I want to say.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, they're definitely speaking French.
Yeah. I think in the UK it was released under the title Switchblade Romance, which is pretty cool, actually.
Is there even a Switchblade in is there a Switchblade in this?
I don't think there actually is, but it's a really good title.
That is a great title. That sounds like a good like metal band.
Yeah, or an album.
Switchblade Romance. Yeah, or like an album. Yeah.
I think there actually is a Switchblade in there, unless I have the wrong understanding of the Switchblade.
It's more of the straight razor blade. Yeah.
Yeah, it's more of like a scalpel kind of.
Yep.
But yeah, it's directed by a gentleman by the name of Alexandre Aja, who, if you don't know, came out. He kind of was a part of this group of directors, of this group of loosely, I guess you could call it a movement in the early 2000s called the Splat Pack, which was Alexander Aja, James Wan, Lee Bunnell, the guys that were doing Saw, Darren Lynn Balsman, who did Saw 2, kind of these kind of new wave of gritty, almost venging on exploitative directors that kind of came out around that time and around that early thousands. Since then, he's gone on to direct a bunch of different stuff. He did the remakes of The Hills Have Eyes. He did Piranha 3D, which I still maintain is actually a really fun movie as well.
He did
He did Crawl, which came out last year, yeah, which I really enjoyed. But this is definitely kind of his introduction to a wider filmic audience for sure. It stars Cecile de France, who's the main female lead in this film. Her character's name is Marie, and then the artist Maïwenn. She's a French artist and singer, and also like a director as well. Who plays Alex, who's the other lead with it. But this is the kind of IMDb summary here. So it goes: best friends Marie and Alex decide to spend a quiet weekend at Alex's parents' secluded farmhouse. But on the night of their arrival, the girls' idyllic getaway turns into an endless night of horror. So it's basically a home invasion movie, like we were talking about last week. The girls kind of go up to Alex's friend's family's house, and along the way, this trucker goes to break in, and bad things happen to good people. But I have a question: was Blake and Adam, was your guys's dubbed when you watched it, or was it entirely subbed?
Mine was dubbed.
Yeah,
Dubbed.
I watched it on Tubi.
Okay, but they were speaking English.
Yeah.
On there. And
I mean, I also had subtitles on, but yeah, it was dubbed.
Yeah,
okay,
certainly dubbed.
Because I think I think this movie is shot in English, and then they actually ADR all the dubbing over it too. Because there's certain moments where I'm like, they are speaking English there.
Yeah, no,
no, you're
it's odd.
definitely right.
It's very odd that sometimes the words were lining up, sometimes they weren't. I don't know.
I wonder if their dialogue on set was just unusable or something. Or if they had
maybe
technical issues
that catches me off guard every time I see this movie. And I've seen this movie a handful of times, but every time I'm like, okay, is this dubbed or is my sound off? You know what I mean? And I never have an answer every time I watch it.
I just remember this, and I believe the first Hostel came out like right around the same time, and they were just both of these just two. Hostel was 05, so that would have been a little bit afterwards. But I remember seeing the poster for this and just being like, holy crap, that movie looks absolutely terrifying. And it was also one of those movies that like everyone's older brother had seen and knew like what it was about and would tell you like what happens in it, and you would just be like, oh my god, and then your mind just makes up the worst things possible. But once you see it, it's way more like you can see the effects way more. But yeah, so what did you guys think? What is everyone's kind of initial thoughts, I should say?
I'll leave it to Adam and Tyler first. I actually want to hear what Adam says first.
You know,
did you figure it out? Did Big Brain Adam come in here and figure out the twist without saying what the twist is?
I did not see the twist coming, if that's what you mean.
Okay,
for sure.
Regardless,
which we'll save for spoilers.
Regardless of the twist, I did not like this movie.
Okay,
I did not like it.
We figured that.
You did not like it because you didn't find it scary, or you didn't like it because it was too gory, or what?
I will get into a little bit more of the finite reasons why. The general reason is the part of me didn't find this movie that scary, which is not too hard. It's not too hard to scare me since I haven't seen a lot of horror stuff, and I just recently got into it and stuff like that. But I didn't find this all that scary. Wasn't really all that nervous the whole time, and I don't know. It wasn't great horror to me, and then also I just find myself kind of annoyed with some of the character choices and stuff like that, which I can get into later. But overall, just didn't really enjoy watching this movie. And there are some things I will point out later once we get into spoilers, but in general,
once we
did not enjoy my time with this movie.
Yeah. I honestly expected that to be your answer, so that's about spot on.
Okay, well, glad I'm predictable.
What'd you think, Tyler?
Man, So I really, really want to like this movie, and it's not that I don't like it. I guess I'm just leaning more on like if we're doing like the ones and zeros. I guess for like the majority out of all the vast horror movies that are out there, this would not be one that I'd be like, you got to see this.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I,
That's
I
also
guess
where I
like
came out.
I guess this is like I enjoyed it. I enjoyed myself for the most part. There were some times where I'm just like, eh. But maybe that's because I've seen, other stuff like this.
Mhm.
Um, and I
I
think the big thing that took it away from me is I got to be in it, and the fact that there's not a very good version of this done. I would have almost rather have just read this in subtitles all the way through and listened to it in French. I think it would have been way better
Mhm.
because I'm sitting there and I hear it in English and it sounds like the voices aren't matching up with what they're
Mhm.
saying. It just, I mean, you could tell it was dubbed. It wasn't a very pleasant experience. So I think that
Mhm.
may have taken a lot away from it. But yeah, other than that, I like overall, if I'm going to recommend it or not, probably not.
Absolutely.
All right, so Blake and Nathaniel, you guys recommended this movie, so why?
I guess I'll go. I mean, for starters, right? I mean, I don't think this is a phenomenal horror movie, right? I think it's just kind of one that I just kind of remember growing up. But I mean, yeah, would I recommend it to people? I would say, yeah, um, if you have a block of space, right, or if you're interested in horror and things of that nature, I'd recommend it to you. Is it without its faults? Absolutely not. And I think we'll get into that with spoilers for sure. Where I can even go into detail on some things that I don't necessarily agree with on this. I just do think it has a few scenes that I think it has a few scenes that are actually going really good for it. But I do think it kind of shoots itself in the foot later on down the road. But I would recommend it, right? I just recommend it to you guys. I'd recommend it to anybody. Is it going to be a phenomenal movie? Absolutely not. But that's just kind of one. If you were ever into horror at an earlier time period, right? This would be one that you would have seen.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
Nathaniel?
I definitely didn't take as much from this on the rewatch as I did from the initial watch, and I wonder if like how old were you when you saw this originally?
I mean, I can't put a finger on it. I would probably say at least high school,
Okay,
right?
so
So
14, 15. That's probably,
yeah,
and I think
that's
I was
about 10
probably
years
around.
ago.
Yeah, I think I was probably around the same age too. I think I think I came across this when I hadn't seen a lot of horror and
Mhm.
differently, and it was also like this kind of phenomenon. And I remember it like it was kind of recommended to me as like a well, if you like underrated stuff, you should check this out.
Mhm.
And like it was really sort of this kind of, and again, it's been so or it's become I would say it became so commonplace for a while there with the saw and the torture porn and all that kind of stuff that this movie's pretty graphic, and that was very kind of
Very.
shocking at the
Yeah.
time too. It had this reputation of being just that next level, like, oh, it's not gonna cut away. And I had those moments when on the rewatch of just being like, man, this is you're in it, like you
Mhm.
Yeah,
feel this.
no, for sure.
And that confrontation I think is kind of good and warranted and can be scary to people too. I mean, obviously these next few weeks are going to be interesting as well because horror is so subjective.
Mhm.
But I always kind of look at what does if I'm looking at a film, does it bring something new to the genre? Does it say something new with what it's going to say? And are there elements of this that I haven't seen before? Haven't seen used before, or if I have seen used before, are they being deployed in a way that is particularly effective, or kind of says something more? And I think there are those moments in this movie for it, and that's why I generally feel comfortable recommending it to folks. Um, I would say the story is definitely lacking in some areas. That's where I think a lot of American audiences would have kind of a tough time with it. And like even we were talking about when we came in here earlier, it was like um we're like, oh yeah, it's really just about one family. Like there's that we're so used to kind of the sense of scope in these kind of home invasion movies sometimes too, that I think This one is so kind of confined that I think it actually feels a little off, and it's paced odd. It has a weird pace to it that I think actually kind of is there to make you a little uncomfortable too. So, yeah, I mean, I still recommend it definitely, but I can also understand and appreciate, I think, where the kind of criticisms are for this as well.
For sure.
So if we're going around with the binary recommendations, I probably would not recommend this. I haven't seen a ton of horror, but there are horror movies that I have seen that I would recommend before watching this.
Yeah, so, I can see that.
Yeah, I'm probably a 0. I'm probably not recommend on this one. Blake, you said you are a recommend?
Yeah, I would recommend it to anybody.
Ty, you said you're leaning towards the 0?
Yeah, I think it's just really for the sole fact that if you're looking at the majority, there's just other horror movies out there that I think do some of the things that this does better. And again, that's probably an age thing and like when this came out, but I still think there's movies that came out maybe before this. When did this come out?
2003.
03.
Yeah, so like
than I thought
yeah,
it was.
there's some other movies that came out that kind of deal with some of the same stuff that this does. So, and that was before this. So I don't know. I'd probably lean more on the no side.
All right. Well, we'll give you a quick little pause here before we get into spoilers. For anybody who wants to skip on the spoiler segment, I will put the timestamp below. So go ahead and click to whatever time that is at, and then you'll be joining us for our ranking on the Entropy list. But without further ado, Nathaniel, why don't you give us a rundown of what happens in this movie for those who are sticking around for spoilers?
Yeah, absolutely. So as we were kind of talking about, Alex and Marie are over to Alex's house for the weekend to study, basically. And pretty soon after that, this kind of nameless trucker rolls up into the house and starts trying to kill Alex's family, and is pretty successful at it as far as those things go.
I would say so.
Yeah,
they are definitely dead. Yeah,
they are definitely successful as far as those go. But it eventually culminates in him kidnapping Alex and putting him in the back of the truck, and Marie jumps in with the Alex in the back as well. And at a gas station, she kind of escapes and calls the cops. She gets to a phone, doesn't she? And she calls the cops, and then starts to run away, basically, and gets to a farm where she finds a fence post covered in barbed wire and beats the shit out of the killer, only for it to be revealed in the film's final reel that the killer all this time has been a figment of Alex's imagination.
I fucking hate
herself is the killer and has killed the family and kidnapped Alex.
Yeah.
Which then leads to the last kind of 2 minutes or so in which Alex chases Marie down through a forest with a concrete saw, which is still one of the greatest still images I've ever seen in film, is just her on the cover of this film with the concrete saw. But the film does end with Alex escaping, more or less, and is found in a hospital, or is committed to a psychiatric ward, basically.
Well, Marie is. Marie is the one. Yeah.
Yes,
Marie is the one with the short hair.
I completely just brain farted that there.
It's all good.
But yeah, Marie is.
It's happened to me more than once on this podcast.
Exactly. So Marie is committed in an insane asylum, and the film ends.
Yeah, and okay, so here, now that we're in spoilers, I'll just fucking say it. I think this movie is phenomenal until the final 15 minutes. I hate the twist. I think the twist absolutely ruins this movie. And it just makes so many plot holes when you go back to think about it prior. But I think this movie, everything up to when you realize that Alex is the killer, I think it's really good. I think the scene where the trucker first comes into the home, that little home invasion scene, it's only like 15 minutes, but I think there's probably 3 cat and mouse sequences, right? There's this one, the gas station one, and the one in the forest. And I think the home one is the one in the home is the best one. Where
I would agree with that.
Right, you actually see Alex make legitimate decisions, right? And they make sense. And I think those are just reasons why I value this movie. But 100%, man, the twist just fucking kills this movie for sure. I think if it doesn't have this twist, I think this movie holds up drastically better.
Have I told you guys the Nathaniel Gingrich theory on twists in film?
You have not, Professor Gingrich. Please go ahead.
Please enlighten us.
Yes, please do.
So I have this idea that theory that we're all familiar with the roller coaster plot. Basically, there's rising action, then you get to the top climax, and then the rest of the film or the rest of the story is the descending action. So if we think of that as a roller coaster, basically, that is just basically one big up and down. A twist, if we were looking at it as the roller coaster, can either be seen as a loop-de-loop or a corkscrew. If we're going kind of linear across time.
Mm-hmm.
Poor twists or bad twists are represented by this loop-de-loop. So the thing about loop-de-loop is it's big, it's easy to see coming, and at the end of it, you're more or less at the same point of where you started, but you've just interrupted your linear action as you're going forward. A corkscrew twist or a good twist is is a lot harder to see coming. It doesn't interrupt that linear action of the narrative, and it doesn't actually just flip the whole world upside down, but it inverts your view in a series of twists that actually change how you view the plot, more or less. And those are the kind of the two types of twists that are present in fiction.
Is this an original Nathaniel Gingrich theory?
Yes, yeah. I've been thinking about this since like college, basically.
Jesus.
Well, the
That's
cat's
genius.
out of the bag, ladies and gentlemen.
I love that, Nathaniel.
Thanks,
I
man.
think that's good. I like that.
But yeah, so then you can kind of think of this as kind of a loop-the-loop twist, rather.
It's a
than
very big and dumb loop-de-loop.
Yeah, I agree for sure. The twist.
I will say
brings down this movie for me.
I will say that I definitely agree that this twist is stupid, but I will disagree that I was not on board with this movie even before the twist happened. That just kind of added to the fact that I just didn't like this movie.
Mm-hmm.
For me, just I wasn't that scared that much of the time. Really, almost never. Was there a moment where I was like, "Oh shit," or anything like that? Like there were some cool kills. The one where he puts his head through the railing and then shoves a table.
Yeah,
it's
that was
kill.
fucking that was.
And that's when you're
cool.
like, okay, I might be in for a fucking movie.
Yeah, but for me, Nathaniel, you mentioned the story problems earlier. For me, that's the biggest thing. Is I don't know who. I mean, obviously, you find out that this man killing everybody is just actually her, but before that, the whole time you don't really know who this guy is. And you're just kind of killing people. And for me, I would have preferred somebody, or I would have preferred some kind of motive, some kind of backstory, just so I know who it is. Like even with Michael Myers, like you have to give enough backstory, even though he doesn't speak at all, to know who he is and kind of his motives a little bit. This one, and he kind of just you see him, and then he just shows up and starts killing people, and I just didn't care about him or the people he's going after. And so there's basically no stakes. I don't care about the killer, and I don't care about the people he's killing. So why do I care at all? That was it for me. I didn't think the people he's going after, Alex and Marie, I didn't really care about them. They were in the movie for like 15-20 minutes before he showed up to the house, and they basically just talked about nonsense. So I just didn't really care enough in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the takeaway from it is prior to the twist. I think what the catch should be, right, is that you're somewhat rooting for Alex because, right, you obviously can see that she has some sort of love interest in her best friend, right? So you're like, okay, hopefully she can get her friend out of this or her lover out of this, and she can maybe get Marie out of this, and maybe we come to terms that maybe Marie feels the same way, right? And they could actually have a relationship or whatever it may be. But yeah, they definitely don't flesh that out by any means. It actually starts, and I noticed that this time watching it actually starts very similar to how the first Jeepers Creepers starts, where there's just two people in the car driving down a highway.
Yeah.
And even the trucker's truck is eerily similar to the creeper's truck.
It is, yeah.
So yeah, those are just kind of just little funny things that I caught this time that I never even caught before. And they've probably come out around the same time period too, so it's just really funny to see.
This movie kind of makes the argument that lesbianism leads to serial killing.
Almost.
Another Nathaniel Gingrich original thought.
But if we want to look past that, if we want to look past that on here, I actually really like that you never really know what this guy's about. I think they found the ugliest guy in the history of actors.
Yeah, you don't know if he's like young or old. Like his
face is so weird. It's like a melted candle. It's so fascinating to look at. I just want to poke it. And like it's like they somehow got a guy whose actual face is uglier and less realistic than a Hollywood mask. And it's so strange.
I don't know how they did it, but
I like how he's shot. The hat's always low on his head.
Mhm.
He's always
don't
kind
even
of
see his
shot
eyes.
with this. You never get a good look at his face. I think his kind of outfit is very arresting. He makes a good silhouette, in particular when you have the original poster where it's just the killer, which is the kind of the IMDb poster that they have on there too. I think
I'm looking at it right now.
Really interesting image. And I think I don't know. I always grew up with that murderous trucker trope. That one of the things that they did was they just killed people and took them across state lines, or they killed people and moved on to the next thing. So as soon as this film kind of opens with that, I was like, oh, okay, well, this is what we're going with. Yeah, this is fine. And just kind of felt like that. So I didn't really ever feel that I needed to have more of the backstory on that kind of thing. I think it's hard for me to remember my reactions to the movie prior to knowing the twist. So I can't. It's hard for me to think all the way back on there and just being like, and not knowing that Alex is also the murderer. No, Marie. God, I keep doing it. Marie is the is the murderer.
I think the
short-haired one.
Yeah,
Marie. Yeah.
Yeah. But so I was watching it specifically this time to kind of check to see, okay, when is Marie and when is Marie the killer and that kind of thing. And it actually does line up. There wasn't ever any time where I'm like, okay, well, how is that there? Except for the car. The car is
the car makes no sense to me.
The car is either a figment of her imagination, or it has to be,
because
she has to be driving the truck the entire time.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I can buy whenever they're in the same general vicinity. If they're in the house, I can kind of get, okay, she's got another self that's over there kind of playing. But it is when you're in the car and they're in two physical different locations.
Like the cornfield.
You kind of go on it. Yeah, and the cornfield too.
I think there's just too many gaps for me to be like full in on this movie. It's not a bad movie. I think they do some really good things, like the spotlight on the swing set right before everything like really kicks off. I think that was just a really cool shot. It's gonna tell you
there are some cool shots. Yeah,
it's a really campy kind of feel. You're like, okay, that's obviously where she's supposed to sit. Something is supposed to happen here. It's kind of like the older like cartoons from like the 90s where like things are like highlighted more, and you're like, oh, they're gonna pick that up. It's kind of like that, and I think it's really cool, and they did some really creative things, and I think they actually do a really good job at building tension in this with the score. It's typically very quiet. You kind of get like this stringy instrument kind of playing along before something big happens. But I think there's just too many gaps with this trying to play off of like a DID, the multiple personality disorder, for her to be in, it's hard because there are other movies that play with the same idea that do it better. One of them being horror is like American Psycho. He's playing off a little bit more of like his ego, but it's still like he's a different person when he's doing these things. And that's kind of like a horror movie, and I think that does this better. And that came out 3 years earlier. And then 1999 Fight Club, like that's one of the best movies that's ever come out for a DID kind of frontline character, and they killed it. So I think there's definitely other movies out there that came before this that do it better that I would recommend over this, and I think that's kind of like my biggest tilting point.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know if I 100% agree with that. The idea that it's a DID isn't the issue for me. It's more, I think I get upset that you lose that character who I think is so menacing and so kind of real and in your face.
I
Yeah.
agree.
No,
That's what I'm saying. I
with
feel like
Nathaniel.
I feel like they should have just either left this movie as like a home invasion though, with like the
Mhm.
guy being the main killer, or they should have made it more pertinent in scenes that she was doing both of them the whole way through, and then throw some other kind of plot twist at the end. Like maybe the other girl's like super okay with this, and they end up, going into the evil sunset together. Just being able to explain that like she like maybe pops up in the cornfield and sees the kid dead, and opening up on that scene versus just like clearly somebody else is doing it and she's inside. Like it's just it I feel like it would flow a little bit better.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I think this movie is much better if that the gentleman, right, the unknown gentleman, is actually the killer, and it ends when I believe it's Alex, right? We've been getting these names mixed up the entire time. Let me double check
Alex
that.
is the brown long-haired one. Marie
Okay,
is
so yeah, gotcha. So I think this would actually suit much better if it ended when Marie kills him, right? Like in the farm thing where she picks up the 2x4 and wraps it in barbed wire. And I'm like, okay, I think she actually may be able to do something about this, right? And you can see she has enough anger where she's able to do something and she ends up killing him. But like I said, the twist just they completely shits on that, and I don't like it. The one thing I do like after the twist is revealed, though, I think the scene where she's chasing Alex as the killer, right, as her mental state when she's a man, and he
When
has
she
it.
has
It's
the
like
saw.
the concrete saw. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very reminiscent of like the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, right?
Yeah.
It's like running through in the field with a chainsaw.
Yep.
So it's got a lot of callbacks to it, and I think that's just kind of why I enjoy this film. Like I said, I certainly don't think it's a phenomenal horror movie, right? I think we can all agree on that. But it does kind of have some things going for it, I would say. But it's definitely got a lot of bad shit going for it as well.
One thing that I don't know, I sometimes like movies that just revel in their like nastiness and like their kind of their meanness in some ways. Um but I just think I feel like this is a really good example of just that early thousands horror aesthetic that was just that it was that weirdly clean, overshot, overexposed lens, but everything is like blue and green, and then there's just tons of blood and tons of gore and everything.
And they show it all. Like they don't really cut away from it or anything.
I think that is part of it. There's just that I love after he's been hit with the barbed wire, and it cuts back to her as she has accepted her kind of killer identity, and he's chasing her after there, and he's just like that face that we've kind of talked about earlier is now just filled with all cuts and nicks and stuff, and his eyes are still so it's that first good look that we get at his eyes where they're that brilliant blue. I think is just a really arresting image that kind of goes through, and him standing on top of the car with the concrete saw and everything. I don't know, those kind of images speak to me. But I was just reading here more about the film, and one of it says, I guess it has a lot of plot similarities with the Dean Koontz novel. And someone asked him about it, like why he hasn't sued, basically. And it says on his website, Koontz stated that he was aware of the comparison, but would not sue, quote, because he found the film so puerile, so disgusting, and so intellectually bankrupt that he didn't want the association with it that would inevitably come if he pursued any legal action against the filmmaker. Which I think just like proves that you have succeeded in some weird way. But yeah, I mean, I think when we chose this film last week, there was a moment where I was kind of like, oh, okay, interesting that we're going with this one. But for me, like I said, those kind of few criteria that I have of does it show me something new? Is it kind of a good example of something that I've seen before, or is there some kind of message that I get behind this? It satisfies that for me, so it's going to get a kind of a pass in my book.
Yeah. So real quick, let me ask you guys this then. Were you guys not big on any of those cat and mouse scenes? It's like even the house one where the killer's going to her room and then she thinks like, okay, can I jump out a window? Can I fight? And then she's like, you know what? I'm just going to make it seem like there's nobody in the room. Right. And she kind of goes that whole thing.
Those are like the scenes for me that really created the most tension. Like you're trying to be as quiet as possible, but you know this guy's obviously coming there. And I mean, she did a lot of things that I definitely wouldn't have thought about, like drying out the sink. Like I don't know, I would have never been like, oh shit, he's gonna check the sink. But yeah, I think those are actually most of the scenes that really build the tension for me and kind of kept me in it for a majority of the movie.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't find it all. Yeah, I mean, it's not that it didn't do anything, but like it wasn't like it wasn't like super intense. Like the one in the house is probably the best of the three, like you said earlier. And I would agree with that, but I mean, even that one wasn't super high tension, like no pun intended, but I don't know. I don't know what it was about this movie, but nothing about it really built too much tension. Like there was a little bit, but I was never too frightened or too concerned or anything like that. And I don't know I really don't have a way to put that in words. It just didn't do it for me.
All right, so next week we're getting something to just really scare the shit out of Adam.
Please I was expecting more from you guys.
Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Yeah, I mean it's hard though, man.
I thought this. No, I'm not mad. I was expecting our first horror movie to be something like, oh shit, and this just wasn't that. And regardless, it's not.
Like, don't get me wrong. The opening scene is this trucker, which you think is seemingly just getting a blowjob on like the side of a cornfield, and then next thing you know, this girl's head comes flying out the window. And you're like, what in the fuck did I just get myself into? So like I definitely like this movie more than Adam does. And I think it does some really great things. But yeah, I don't know. It's like really weird for me. But no, I think this definitely has the kind of like, oh shit factor.
Yeah. And like Adam said, I mean, there's certainly a list of other films we can get into. But yeah, it was kind of one just to get the ball rolling. Just kind of get it started. And I think we were talking about home invasion, and I was like, well, this is another home invasion that's kind of like popped out of my head. But yeah, I would, in order to get you something more tailored for you though, like I need to know what type of horror you like, right? But it doesn't seem like you have enough information to be able to articulate like, okay, this is what I do like on horror, this is what I don't like. But it doesn't seem like you like home invasion. That's kind of what we're starting off.
Have you seen Paranormal Activity?
I've not.
Okay.
You think he'll like those? I don't even think he'll like those, dude.
I think maybe we got to go that route because it's
I can't confirm. I can't confirm Paranormal Activity scared the shit out of me when I was younger. Just the concept of it. So
for sure. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Maybe he's more of like a spirit demon kind of guy.
Yeah, but I mean, Paranormal Activity.
I think we will know within the next 2 months.
It was scaring the shit out of everybody in the theater, right? And that's because there's so many jump scares in that. Right, well, like that's gonna scare anybody at age 10, you know. But I was scared watching that shit when I was 13.
Yeah.
Have you seen Insidious, Adam?
Nope.
That's a good one. I would recommend. I would recommend that for sure. That's more on par with what I would probably consider a good horror movie. I think Nathaniel
So
would too. I'm sure
why don't we
Tyler
save
would as
this
well.
discussion for what we're deciding to watch next week?
Lit.
In the meantime, let's put this on our entropy list. Welcome back, listeners who wanted to skip over spoilers. We are going to put High Tension on the entropy list. Our first true horror film. Green Room was more thriller, but here we are with a straight up horror flick. Well, Blake, I'll toss it to you, buddy. Where are you putting this?
I'm putting it above American Pickle. I'll tell you that.
Okay. Sorry, really quick, listeners. For those of you who don't know, our entropy list is our smorgasbord of movies that we put on one giant list and rank them. If you would like to, there's now 10 movies on the list, so I'm not going to keep repeating
for sure
the list over and over for where you know what the rank is. I am going to, I have did for last week, and I'm going to go moving forward. The entropy list is in the description. Go ahead and click the link there. It's on my Letterboxd. You can go ahead and view it there if you want to see the full list. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no doubt. I would probably put it at 9, right? Because that would be American Pickle at 10.
Well, you'd put it at 10.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm correct. I'd put it at 10. What was above that? Was it Project Power?
Project Power, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the list right now.
Okay. I might put it above Project Power. I think I'd rather watch this than Project Power. I'd go there. We'll go 9.
You're going 9?
Yep, above American Pickle and Project Power.
Between Project Power? Oh, above them. Okay, sorry. So
above,
you're saying below Staten Island, above Project Power.
Above.
Correct.
All right. Ty?
Is it my turn? Ty, why don't you go?
Popcorn
go
Ty.
ahead.
All right, fine. Popcorn Nathaniel.
I would say below Project Power, above American Pickle, so that's at number 10. So one slot lower than Blake.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, now you got me thinking about it.
I'm telling you, for what it's worth, right? For what you're signing up for this movie, I think that's more in line than what I signed up for when I went to watch Project Power. I had phenomenal expectations. Not phenomenal. It was a Netflix film.
But I gotta think for like the general public. I think they're gonna like
for
Project
sure,
Power more.
absolutely.
So I think I'll put this at 10 above American Pickle. American Pickle, I liked at the time, but I liked it at the time, but I've just kind of soured on it. I haven't thought about that movie at all, except when we've talked about it to just kick it a little bit. And like, I don't know, yeah, it's just kind of such a nothing film for me. I'd rather watch this movie more days. So I'd say at 10 for me.
Gotcha.
As well. Okay.
10 for me.
Popcorn Ty.
10 for me.
You're done already?
Oh yeah. I think I would much rather watch this than American Pickle. I think I'd definitely probably watch Project Power. And again, that might be just because the way that this thing was dubbed over.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm okay with 10.
Yeah. I would probably. I'm gonna agree with 10. I think that's where it's gonna go. But personally, I would probably rather watch an American Pickle than this.
You're a terrible human being.
That's rough.
I just didn't vibe with this movie at all.
But to be honest, though, with you, man, when I first got here, me and Nathaniel were like, well, what do you think Adam's gonna think of it? And I was like, Adam's gonna fucking hate this movie, and I knew it. But
I kind of had a feeling. We were talking to our boss earlier in the week, and
Madison,
because I think Tyler said like told him that we were doing High Tension, and Joe came up to me and he's like, "You're having them do High Tension?" I was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "I don't think either of them have any idea what they're getting ready for here." Like we kind of sold this as like a Strangers-esque version, and it is not that. It is
no, not at all.
It was
times 3 in terms of the gore.
It just wasn't for me, and I think that's
but I'm totally cool with all that stuff. I'll watch any horror movie like Hostel, like that.
Right.
That's one of those other movies that you're just like, I have no idea what I got into. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's just more of the other things I had.
Oh no, yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I don't think.
No, you want to fight about it? We can fight about it.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, we'll do that. We're fighting Tyler this week.
All right, I'm in favor. All right, so it's going at number 10. That's where my vote. That's where my vote's gonna go at.
Let's wrap this bad boy up and get on out.
Yeah, let's get on out of here. So we were talking earlier about horror movies. What horror movie do we want to pick for next week? We can just do this live really quick. Nathaniel and Blake, I'll let you guys leave, or I'll leave that up to you guys.
Gotcha. I would say I'm an advocate for Insidious. I'm an advocate for 30 Days of Night.
I don't see that one scaring Adam. I want to scare Adam.
Me neither.
Yeah, Adam's a hard gentleman to please, for sure.
I think
30 Days of Night is good. I think Insidious will do it though.
30 Days of Night is awesome. I love 30 Days of Night, and there are some scary moments in 30 Days of Night, but I think most dudes watch 30 Days of Night and go, "That's great." That's like.
I'm sorry, you said watch Insidious and think that.
No, it's watching 30 Days a Night.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, like that's awesome. That's like kind of that. It gets into that like Aliens level of
like a Resident Evil kind of deal.
Horror. Yeah,
for sure,
a little bit sometimes. But that's a great movie too. What other ones?
I would say try and stick with like the. I think we got to go like
the mainstream,
demon, or like have you seen The Conjuring?
Yes, but it's been 3 or 4 years to the point where I don't remember all of it.
I mean, I would say if you want to do The Conjuring and Insidious, like we can do those next two. Those are notoriously, held as some of the better horror films right since 2010. So yeah, I'd be curious to see, like, I would be able to get a really good gauge where if you sat down and watched those, okay, well, I don't like these either. Then I would understand where you're at, like in a horror aspect. Okay, if you don't like those,
I will be honest. The Conjuring scares the shit out of me.
Yeah, it's a good film. Absolutely.
So yeah, that's kind of where
Let's go Insidious next week then. I got a hankering for Insidious. I haven't seen that movie in so long.
For sure. That movie's PG-13 too, by the way.
Look, he's already.
I'm already uncomfortable. I wasn't saying anything. I didn't want to give Nathaniel any ideas for it, but he came to it on his own, and I'm scared shitless already.
I'm down.
So
I love Insidious.
Yeah, this one I'm almost guaranteed to.
This one holds a special place in my heart, in which that it was me and like 5 of my high school buddies.
Yeah, me too.
Like we all went and saw it, and all 5 of us were just like in our seats, like curled up by the end of it.
So this is really random, but I just went on Letterboxd and I looked up Insidious, and the first comment under popular reviews is just throw the whole damn kid away, LOL. That I don't know why I thought that was funny, and maybe it makes more sense in the context of the movie, but
for sure. I mean, I think you'll like those. Like I said, that's one of the most
like Patrick Wilson is in like all of these
films.
Yeah, he and James Wan are really good. Yeah. People need to start talking about James Wan, folks. He's this generation's Wes Craven.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
I just think for like what he's done for the genre, like between Insidious, Conjuring, and Saw, like all of those being his. Dead Silence too. That's another good one.
Yeah, I don't see Adam liking that one, but I like that one.
Alrighty, listeners, Insidious it is. Let me see if that's streaming anywhere really quick.
Oh, I doubt it.
It's on Netflix. It might
be on there. Ooh.
Let's go.
That's
I think Sinister's
everybody should have access to, baby. The good old Netflix. Nathaniel, do we have a 5-star review to review?
I had it on good authority that we actually have a 5-star review hanging in the Gmail.
If you do you have it under good authority? I have it under good authority that I forgot to check the Gmail this week, so that could make sense.
Well, then it's a good thing we're here. One team, one dream.
One team, one dream. Ryan oh boy. We got 2. We got 2. He is back, baby.
Oh,
I'm gonna go me first because he wrote in last Tuesday, before Ryan Foley. He says, so let me start with my father was a manager or hire for a movie theater/theaters for a total of 20 to 25 years. That sentence
he requested
a lot of
that
sense.
we stop saying his full name as well too. So if we could beep out that that one from earlier, not to make more editing work for you, Adam.
No, I will timestamp that.
Especially if he's giving personal details.
That is a fair point that I will mark down and edit out later. But the Waz, what are we calling them?
Just call them Waz.
Waz wrote in again. He said you guys brought up movies with subtitles. They should be available at all theaters because it's part of ADA compliance's piece for people with hearing impairment. So call your local theater and ask.
There you go.
That I did not know, but makes a lot of sense now that he points it out to me that it's got to be available for people.
Get lawyered.
Sure. Oh boy, Ryan wrote a paragraph, a huge chunk.
Read it.
Am I gonna go through the whole thing?
Yeah, fuck it. Why not?
I don't know what's in here, but I'm just gonna go.
Cares. Oh, also may as well just leave out his name too.
Do we? I mean, people. There's okay, sure.
Just shoot first names only.
Why don't you reach out to Ryan and let me know if he wants it?
I'm sure he just say Ryan.
Anyway, Ryan says, "What up, bros? Adam and Blake, you guys don't know this yet, but I am Back Row Banter's #1 fan. Did I name myself this? Absolutely not. This right was given to me by Tyler Vidalis, and I'm pretty sure Nathaniel thinks the same thing. I am a huge cinema nerd, second only to Nathaniel, I would say, and listen to podcasts all day. Am I a professional podcast reviewer? Not even a little bit, but I like to think I have a good understanding of things in the world of podcasting, cinema, television, comics, and other shit like that. What I do, is send Tyler and Nathaniel my thoughts on each episode with positive feedback. I have been an avid listener to Back Row Banter since day one and love how you guys are growing into a force to be reckoned with in the podcast world. When you guys released the Tenet and Horror Starter Kit, 3+ hours of content, I was like, this is some Joe Rogan level shit now. But you guys did not miss a beat, and the 3+ hours felt like it flew by. Easily your best 2 episodes yet. Tyler and Nathaniel know my thoughts on them. So Blake, keep being a big cat and loving horror. Mad respect for the way you disliked found footage horror, but then went on to watch more found footage horror to change your own hot take. Adam, you are a solid host who keeps the flow great, and your young view on things provides great banter, he puts in quotes, to the content each week. Also, good job on beating COVID. Tyler already knows he is great, and Nathaniel is a super cinema freak in the greatest of ways. I digress. But keep up the great job, bros. Thanks for providing great content to a nerd like me. Hope to hang with you all. That was a lovely email. That just made my day.
That was great.
I love Ryan so much. I grew up with Ryan being like Justin's best friend. And then Ryan and Rob and I decided that we wanted to get an apartment together. And I like Ryan's always been like one of my like big brother figures, and so is Rob, and it was cool to be able to like live with them for X amount of years. And yeah, they're great people, and thank you, Ryan, very much. That was very, very nice of you.
Yes, Ryan, thank you very much for the kind words. Do appreciate it. We appreciate all of our listeners, of course. And if you'd like to join Ryan and Waz, you can do so by emailing us at backrowbanterpod@gmail.com for any of your questions, comments, concerns, movie reviews, or movie suggestions. We are available.
I have one last 5-star review, actually.
Of course, go ahead.
Where you can, in app, I should say, where you can rate us. And if you give us a 5-star review, I will read out that review. Doesn't have to be mean or nice or anything, really. It just has to be 5 stars. So this is from, I'm going to take a stab at it. Mini Fragista or Mean Fragista?
It's Menifragista.
Sure, that one.
Okay.
This is Star is Born is a good movie. It is a good movie. I just don't particularly like it. It says 2 casual movie fans and a master in film, literally, teach a young boy about cinema. If you like Zachary Quinto or Heath Ledger, this is the podcast for you. I came for the spicy hot Kylo Ren takes, but I stayed for the pronunciation of Tenet. Seriously, though, I wish my friends loved movies as much as these guys. Big fan of the pod, and keep up the great banter. So thank you, Menifragista.
That is one Scott Schwartz, my brother.
Well.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Scott.
Yeah, he texted me earlier in the week. I didn't know he was doing it this week, but he texted me earlier. He said he thinks he's got a 5-star review. That's perfect. So I didn't know he was putting up this soon, but when you said Menifragista, I was like, yep. I know where that's from.
Well, the review will go down in history. It's in
episode 16 lore. Yep, exactly. All right, guys. I think that's it for the show.
Wrap it up.
Yeah, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Share
Insidious.
Insidious. I'm scared, but also excited. I'm excited.
Yeah, I haven't seen that in a long time.
I haven't either. I'm pretty hyped.
I'm very excited, actually. All right.
Yeah.
Please share the podcast. We would love to grow. Wouldn't you love to grow, Nathaniel?
I would love to grow. I quit growing a while ago, and I want to grow again.
Yeah, I love growing up. It's great. We would love to grow, and we can't do so without your guys' help. So please share the pod to a friend, family member, enemy, maybe a home invader. You never know.
If someone invades your home this week, before they swipe right on your life, have them swipe right on our podcast. That didn't really work, but I started that, and I was like, hey,
no, I'm with it though. I'm with it.
Or if you're going more on the DID side, share it with yourself.
Yeah. Just do it on a different device. That joke is far better than mine. So we'll just go with that.
Nathaniel, I select your joke. Don't worry. If you want to find us on Twitter, we're at Banter Row, sending out your updates on when these episodes are going live and stuff like that. Instagram, we're at Back Row Banter Pod. Our YouTube is just Back Row Banter. Go ahead and give us a sub there. It is free, and we'd appreciate it. And then, like I said before, our email is backrowbanterpod@gmail.com. Blake, big cat Blake, where can the people find you at?
Yes, sir. Letterboxd. That would be my government name, BlakeHolder. I'll be on there. Hopefully looking to log some better horror movies that Adam's not going to shit on. But we'll see. I think Insidious will be that. Then we'll roll into The Conjuring. But we do have to get Hereditary on here. That's the only thing I'm standing.
Yeah, I think that's one that you guys have seen that I haven't, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you haven't seen it? Oh, baby.
So only me and Nathaniel have seen it.
All right. Yeah, we'll have to get that on there. I'm down.
Lit.
All right. I love how we're talking about how Waz doesn't want to say in his full name, and then BlakeHolder goes, "Yeah, my government issue name. That's my letterbox. That's and my social security number starts with a 360." No.
We're just we're the guys that want to be known. Waz is just he doesn't want.
Yeah, no, hey, respect, man. I get it. I know how it is. Popcorn Tyler.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's me, Popcorn Tyler.
Next week.
I'm changing it as we speak to Popcorn Tyler.
I stream every now and then. That's Twitch TV /El Trabajo ELTRABAJO 87. And then Letterboxd, Insta, and what's the other one we usually do? Oh, Twitter. Tyler Vidalis. That's VIDALES.
And last but not least, it's Dancing Man himself, another visual gag. Nathaniel, where can the people find you at?
I'm voguing. I'm trying to vote.
Ooh, is that what you're doing?
You can get me on Twitter and Letterboxd at NSGingrich. That is GINGRICH. And you can find me on Instagram at NathanielG92. And that is spelled with an IEL.
Like spelled out IEL or?
Yeah, no, that's it. Yeah.
Okay. And if you want to find me, I'm on Twitter. I'm at amschwartzy. That's the same. Going to be the same for my Letterboxd, which you can find the entropy list there as well. It's also in the podcast description. And then I also Twitch too. Sometimes I'm trying to do it more, but I'm very, very busy. But if you want to catch me, I'm at Aish. That's twitch.tv/Aish. AYYS and H. It's not and H. It's just okay. I think that's all we have for you guys. It's in the show notes. Yeah, you'll find it. I have faith in you, listener. All right. We'll see you guys next week for Insidious. We'll BRB.
Be excellent to each other and BRB.
Thank you guys so much. Share the love. BRB.
Yeah, everybody have a great week. Keep pushing, stay positive, and BRB.
America. Ready for another lesson.
I'm not laughing at anything that was just said. I'm laughing at this tweet I saw that just says, "Why Dippin' Dots always at obscure places, never just at the store? Just wondering." And the first tweet after it is just, "I'm going to the zoo for some Dippin' Dots." And all of a sudden,
Yeah, I feel like you can only get those at like sporting events, the zoo.
like the zoo, museums, movie theaters, like occasionally random gas stations.
How do you guys feel about Dipping Dots?
I love Dippin' Dots.
Are we pro Dipping Dots here?
I'll eat them. I'm a pretty picky eater though, dude. So you got to take
Are
what
you?
I say for a grain of salt when it comes to
I
food.
Do we have
don't know
a?
if
Do we
I've
have
ever
a?
actually had Dippin' Dots.
What?
Yeah.
Fuck your childhood.
Were they around when you were a kid? Aren't they like somewhat new? Like in the
What?
last like, how long have the Dippin' Dots been around?
They're like very 90s, early 2000s, I
What
think.
the
Yeah, that's what I
fuck?
thought.
Who do
Yeah,
you-
that's
who
what I
do you
meant.
think you are?
That's what I meant.
You're not a
Like-
90s kid.
I mean, I was very much a child then still, so
Okay.
they were around for my childhood, yes.
When were you born, Nathaniel? 92, 3?
Yeah, 92.
I'm old as fuck.